Last year I released my Marvel Legends Most Valuable Build-A-Figures video. Well, thanks to Haslab, Sentinel, and Galactus, the entire market's been shaken up! How much so? Stick around and find out. What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. We are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. Before we get started, I want to let everybody know if you are in the Mid-Atlantic area, I will be at New Jersey ToyCon/LegionsCon November 13th and 14th. One of my absolute favorite conventions, super cheap to get in, great deals to be had. Mrs. Nerdy will be there, I'll be there. Make sure you come say hi. Just so we're clear, this is based on completed eBay auctions averaged together with the help of Action Figure 411, the greatest website for action figures ever. Also, we're talking about dollar value. We're not doing percentage growth because it's a bath. You didn't pay anything for it. It was a throw-in. Also, since last year, this was the comment I got like every third comment. No, Pit is not on this list. Now, the Toy Biz Legendary Heroes Pit figure is super awesome, super expensive, but he's not a Marvel Legends. He's never in a Marvel comic book, so he doesn't count. If he was, yes, he'd be number one, but he's not. One quick honorable mention, because he hasn't had any completed auctions in a really long time, the 2007 Sandman Build-A-Figure that looks like a hot giant hunk of plastic crap, his pieces are going anywhere between 20 and 50 bucks a piece, but there is no whole completed figures for me to base an auction on to give him a value. He at least deserves an honorable mention. Coming in at number 10 is Rhino. He was released in 2015. He was last year's number 7, so he actually fell 3 spots. He also fell a little bit in value. This year he's going for $141, which is about a $13 decrease. Rhino, of course, first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 41 back in 1906 and is known for his artificial skin and super strength. Super strength. Say that 15 times fast. Super strength, super strength. Ooh. This is personally one of my most wanted Build-A-Figures, but I am not paying up for it because Hasbro has teased that we're getting an oversized figure on a Spider-Man retro card, meaning it's gotta be Rhino, right? It's either Rhino or the Lizard, or alright, it's gonna be Rhino, right? So let's wait, it's gonna happen. The previous owner of this spot last year was a Nihilus. He dropped 1 spot to number 11 and $8 to 112. Coming in at number 9 is Galactus. He was released back in 2005 and he is currently going for $142. Thanks probably to the Haslab Project, he actually dropped 3 spots. Last year he was at number 6. He also dropped a good bit of money from 186, so he dropped 44 bucks. Galactus first appeared in Fantastic Four number 48 back in 1966, and he was the first Marvel Build-A-Figure. I think it's pretty obvious that the Haslab Project has had some form of an impact on this. Maybe people were selling them off at a lower price just to get money to go buy the Haslab Galactus. But if the Sentinel is any clue as far as past history goes, that one actually dropped in value when the Haslab came out and then went back up. So hold him, I guess. Coming in at number 8 is Apocalypse, who was also released in 2005 and is going for $148. He actually went up a spot from number 9 last year to number 8 this year and is going for about $10 more this year than he was last year at this time. Like Galactus, he is one of the first couple of Build-A-Figures made by Toy Biz back in the early 2000s, and he first appeared in X Factor number 5 back in 1986. Apocalypse is one of the very first mutants and actually one of the more powerful people in all of the Marvel Universe. He's so powerful, in fact, that Mike Tyson even channels his spirit and steals his quotes.
How dare them challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills? They're just as good as dead.
The previous owner of this spot was the 2017 Sandman Build-A-Figure, who dropped all the way from number 8 to 16. With that came a big drop in money where he dropped almost $50 to just $90 this year, so if you're looking for him, go out and get him now. Coming in at number 7 is the Brood Queen that came out in 2005 and is going for $148. This figure made a huge jump from last year, up $32. It was number 11 on last year's list, and I did not expect to see it here. The Brood Queen first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 162 back in 1982. And a fun unknown fact, Hasbro actually based this figure's sculpt off of Mrs. Nerdy in the morning before she has her coffee. The previous owner of this spot was the aforementioned Rhino, who fell from number 7 to number 10. Time to go to number 6. Number 6 is the biggest mover and shaker of the year. You ready? Coming in at number 6 is Terrax. Released in 2012, he's going for $157 complete. This is a huge increase from last year when he was only going for 92 bucks, and I don't even know what his rank was because I didn't rank that low. So yeah, he was by far the biggest mover of the year. Terrax first appeared in Fantastic Four number 211 back in 1979, and when the Galactus Haslab came to its final days, people were really hoping that we would get him as one of the stretch goals. But we didn't. Instead, we got 3 other Heralds, and people started to panic buy him, driving the price up. My advice, don't overpay. Here's some insider knowledge. We're gonna get a Terrax figure probably in 2022. Oh, but Big Nerdy, how can you know that for sure? I'll tell you how. Because Upper Deck and Hasbro released a Marvel Legends card set, and in it were cards based on all the figures released this year. One of them was Terrax, who we have not gotten announced so far. So that leads me to believe he's probably coming in early 2022, because all of the other figures are pretty much like right down the list. Like it goes Hood, White Doctor Doom, Lady Deathstrike. Like it's literally, it's like they're reading off a list of legends and Terrax is in there. So he's coming. Don't overpay. The previous holder of the number 6 spots was Galactus, who we mentioned a few moments ago at number 9. Coming in at number 5 is the Sentinel, released in 2005 and going for $192 fully complete. Fully complete? Is that like an oxymoron? It doesn't matter. He's actually down a couple dollars from last year. Last year at this time he was going for $196, and he actually dropped a spot in the rankings. He was number 4 last year. I'm sure it has something to do with the entire Haslab project, but in truth, he actually dipped after the Haslab project, and then he came back up. So, good on you. This Sentinel first appeared in X-Men number 14 and was created by Tyrion Lannister. While this is a great Build-A-Figure, it definitely was outshined by the Haslab, but still, people still really want it. That's why he's going for $200 almost. Last year's number 5 was the Toy Biz Giant Man, who we might be hearing about in a little bit. How's that for foreshadowing? Coming in at number 4 is the Blob. Released in 2007, he's currently going for $193, just edging out the Sentinel for the number 4 spot. He actually dropped a little bit from last year too. Last year he was number 3 and he dropped about $34 in price since last year, so he's not nearly as expensive as he was last year at this time, so that's a plus. The Blob first waddled his way onto the scene in X-Men number 3 in 1964 and is better known by his human name, Frederick Dukes. Like I said last year, he still has a terrible mutant power. Talk about not winning the genetic lottery. Though when I was at my fattest, which was pretty darn fat, I gotta say, I wish I could have used the excuse of I'm a mutant. It's not because I eat too much. Next to Rhino, this is my second most wanted Build-A-Figure to be re-released, although I'd rather him be a deluxe so I don't have to buy a bunch of other figures, but hey, whatever it takes. Give me the Blob! The previous owner of this spot was the Sentinel, who dropped to number 5 this year. Coming in at number 3 is Giant Man, released by Toy Biz in 2006 and going for $207. He's going for about $13 more than he was last year at this time, and he actually went down 2 spots. He was number 5 last year. Giant Man first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 49 back in 1963, and this is a massive Build-A-Figure at almost 14 inches tall, putting him about an inch bigger than Surtur. This is the only Toy Biz Build-A-Figure that I'm heavily considering going back to buy, just because I don't think we'll ever, well, I know, we're never going to get a 14-inch Build-A-Figure again from Hasbro, and I don't know that they're going to bother making a 14-inch version of Giant Man, considering the Ant-Man movie version from a few years ago was not a super hot seller. So yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see it, but if we got one that big, oh, I'd be all in on that. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go pay up for this, and it has a fantastic paint job. It's really one of the prettier Toy Biz figures I've seen. Oh, he's gorgeous. The previous holder of this spot was the Dragon Fing Fang Foom. Coming in at number 2 is Nemesis, who was released in 2009 and is currently going for $254. For those of you who watched last year's video, he was number 1, so he dropped a spot. You might be a little confused too, because you're like, Nemesis, who the hell's that? If you're a comic fan, this is Holocaust, but I guess toy manufacturers felt like, yeah, we can't put a toy on the shelves that says Holocaust. And frankly, yeah, it's probably a bad idea. Nemesis first appeared in X-Men Alpha in 1995, and he is the son of Apocalypse and one of the 4 Horsemen. Woo! Nope, not those 4 Horsemen. He's a Walmart exclusive, and one of the reasons he's so expensive is the fact that his helmet's made of like super crappy plastic and the hinge breaks really easily, so his helmet is what's really hard to come by. And that's probably what drives the price up, just because there's not that many working ones out there. The previous holder of the number 2 spot was the aforementioned Blob, who came in at number 4 this year. All right, number 1, probably not a mystery at this point, but we got to talk about him anyway. Coming in at number 1 is Fin Fang Foom, released in 2008 and going for a whopping $270. The Dragon moves up from number 3 last year, and he actually jumped $45 in price, so he's gotten even more expensive. As I said, last year's number 1 was this year's number 2, Nemesis. Fun fact, some of these Build-A-Figures are among the very best that have ever been made for Marvel. If you want to see who the 10 best are, check out this video right here. Until then, remember, you have to get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.